And well, a big thanks to John Cowan. He's a busy man. He's out and about. He's in the middle of one of the other things that he does, and it's one of those things that involves wearing a tie. So this isn't your normal look. You're wearing a tie. I'm very impressed that you've dressed up for me.
I'm semi-strangled here, but no, I think it's a special occasion for other people, so I put on a tie to honour them.
Yeah.
And also to perhaps make me look good. Who knows?
Well, no, it's
a citizenship ceremony.
Yeah.
And I love doing citizenship ceremonies. I call out the names. It gives me the opportunity to offend up to 60 different nationalities in one hit, as I mispronounce their lovely names.
John, it's a good look for you, and you're very good at it. I've had some glowing reviews of your role in citizenship ceremonies. But today, your specialist topic isn't massacring other languages, but how to be a grown-up. Now, you've got a few years on me. I'm hoping that you've got some hot tips, because I'm not sure I'm going to make it, John.
Yes, it's a strange business of when do we know that we're grown up? When do we know that we're mature?
Mm-hmm.
And it's an interesting question to ask ourselves, or even to ask other people. When did you feel like a grown up? And sometimes people say, "Oh, when I was at my mother's funeral," or something like that.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, there's sort of fairly clear indicators that you're growing up, not just physical ones, but things like being allowed to stay up later, or being allowed to go to the city on your own, or I can remember at school, the more senior kids, we were allowed to wear mufti to school. We felt so grown up.
Wow.
But getting a driver's license, that was a big thing. That showed that you're getting really mature.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was sort of like the immature indicators of immaturity, like being able to drive your car really, really fast, or getting drunk, or dating a girl, or, or getting OE, that's often a big one to show that you're getting sort of entering into maturity.
Yeah.
Getting a job, getting a flat, all those things. And yet the trouble is, I know people my age, and I am considerably, as you say, older than you, my age, who are not growing up yet. They're not really mature.
They're
heading towards retirement.
If you're saying that one of the measures of being a grown-up is the ability to make bad decisions, then I think I've been grown up for many years, John. But I suppose it's not just the bad decisions, but taking some responsibility for them, perhaps.
That's right. It's what you say to yourself afterwards. And one of the ideas of being a grown-up is that sometimes an immature response is to blame everybody else, blame the world, blame life, blame, for the turns, whereas a mature response is that you are allowed to feel the sting. You're allowed to feel disappointed, to point the finger a little bit, but then you get over yourself and then you move on. And the same, look, one of the biggest indicators is your relationship with your parents. Even if your parents are long dead, your relationship and your attitude to your parents is a big indicator of how well grown up you are. Now, some of us had wonderful parents. I know other people had rough times with their parents. Maybe they were alcoholics, maybe they felt deserted, maybe they were, real trouble. But making peace with that is a big sign that you're growing up. Maybe still feeling a bit angry, but not staying stuck in your rage and your fury. And so some of us to grow up need to stand at that graveside or to make a phone call and just get over ourselves and make peace and recognize the efforts and the sacrifices that were there, as well as recognizing the imperfections. Another thing which I think shows that you're growing up is recognizing, hey, we're not logical, we're not simple, we're not entirely good, and we're not entirely bad. And by that I mean recognizing that sometimes our habits and our impulses and the things that we're afraid of and the emotions that surge up, we didn't choose them. They're just sort of the result of our wiring, our genes, our history, our way we were brought up, and excusing ourselves some of that while still taking responsibility for ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, we might have these impulses and drives, but but maturity says, hey, I'm going to, I recognize that I do have a flary temper. I recognize that I do have appetites that are hard to control, but I am taking responsibility for them.
We all want to be the good guy. We all want to be the hero in our own life story, I suppose, and that's natural. But perhaps recognizing that there's a bit of a character arc for that hero, and it's not just all onward and upward. Sometimes there's some detours along the way, right?
That's right. That's right. I mean, just stepping back and having a realistic look at yourself and saying, oh, yeah, well, look, I don't tick all the boxes in that area. And man, I've got a few little weird thoughts that flicker through my head and everything like that. But at least I'm getting better at controlling my impulses. A big sign of maturity is not opening your mouth and saying a thought the moment it pops into your head. And, being able to bite your lip, being able to shrug your shoulders. And the shrugging the shoulders thing is really important when another sign of maturity is allowing other people to be human.
Mm-hmm.
As we get more mature, we get more patient with others. We recognize in them that they are struggling with probably similar things to what we're struggling with, or struggling with things we have no idea about. But we recognize that beneath the surface, everybody's got a journey, everybody's got their weaknesses and strengths. And so we are a bit more patient with those people that are slow in the queue ahead of us, who frustrate us at work, who we happen to live with, who we happen to marry. We just sort of recognize that, and that's a big sign of maturity, allowing other people to be human.
Yeah.
And the final thing I'd say, and even though there's a lot more to maturity than this, is that when you mature, you recognize that some of those big passions and drives that you had when you were younger, they aren't that really all that aren't that flash.
Yeah.
I mean, romance, glamour, fame, excitement. I'd rather have a cup of tea in an early night. Meaning, we can, we're a bit more relaxed. And also about our dreads and our anxieties and things. I mean, when I was a teenager and I had nothing really to worry about, the amount of worry that I'd put into how I was coming across to people and what mistakes I'd made and would I ever be appealing to girls and things like this.
Yeah.
Maturity means that we accept ourselves, we accept what life's going to us, we recognize that the catastrophes that we fantasize about are far more frequent than they actually happen in life, and we actually intend to enjoy life more. So, yeah, growing up, it's a tough business, but it's something that we need to keep on the agenda.
There's certainly some good wisdom and advice in that regard, and growing up sounds like a great idea and something for me to aspire to, John. Thank you so much for your wisdom.
I recognize you're well on the way to maturity there. Good on you.
Recognizing my own pitfalls. But hey, all the best for the rest of the day and the censorship, not the censorship, the citizenship ceremonies that you're involved with. John, thanks so much for joining us today. Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.